Hey everybody, and welcome to the final episode of Season 1 of Arrow with Shadowstar and Crystal here to discuss the final Arrow episode of Season 1. It's finally the end of the season, can you believe it?
What an ending.
I know, I love this episode. Like I said, season finales for Arrow are amazing, and this is a great episode.
Granted, we don't have other endings to compare it to. I mean, yes, we kind of remember what... You know, I have a bad memory when it comes to Arrow, so I don't have anything I've recently seen to compare it to.
It's definitely up there as one of my favorite finales. But let's not rush ahead. Let's start at the start. The episode starts pretty much where we left off with Malcolm and Oliver.
Yep. He found him, and he brought him somewhere and chained him up.
Yeah, now that Oliver and Malcolm know each other, they get to have a bit of confrontation scene.
Yeah, I love that conversation because it just shows that Malcolm is completely sure of his plan. He's really confident. He says, "There's nothing you can do to stop me."
Yeah, and Oliver does get to call him out, and then the scene was quick and simple, but it's still a great confrontation scene with them going each of their motives and Malcolm going into a bit of what he's doing. And then, I have to give credit, I love Oliver's escape scene when he gets down and Oliver and Malcolm leaves him alone.
It's unrealistic, but it's fun to
No,
watch.
it kind of makes sense. He dropped his entire weight down, so it pulled the bar off. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But speaking of things that continue on from the previous episode, I mean, everything does, but after the confrontation scene, I think we'll move on to the other thing that wasn't quite resolved, Felicity. So yeah, Felicity, honestly, the weird thing is, she didn't get in much trouble for this, despite all the illegal hacking she's done this season, because he pretty much says, right, your computer did this. He goes over all the things.
He even waits a day to interrogate her, because it's nighttime, and then it's daytime, and she's in a different outfit.
Yeah, but, okay, so that scene, oh man, that scene was so good too, but...
Yeah, she had that speech at the end.
We'll get to that, because there's a lot of continuity, because he lists all the stuff she did before she truly teamed up with him as well. That was a nice references.
Oh, yeah.
But then, you know, just after Oliver calls Quentin for help, Felicity does give a bit of a speech to him, and I love that scene.
Which kind of implies that she's admitting that... at the start of the interrogation, she's like, "Oh, hacking is a hobby I don't involve in," and I don't...
But then she pretty much admits to it, but she's fine with it.
Yeah.
But I still love that. I can't remember much of the words of that speech, but there's a really cool thing in that speech that not enough people noticed. Very subtly is music that will later be used in the Flash most of the time whenever there's an emotional bit. I don't know why they use that music or why they decided to turn that emotional scene into the music for the Flash, but I love it. It's so cool.
Yeah.
But before we get into it, because everything else kind of intertwines, let's get into the one bit that's off to the side, which is the flashback. The weird thing is, despite being a climactic end for this season's flashback, there wasn't that many scenes. There was about 3 scenes.
Yeah, basically...
First their escape, then the fight scene, then the ending.
Yeah, they changed the target of the missile. It just kind of lands nearby. A lot of people die, like the soldiers.
But yeah, I love that fight scene, and mostly because it shows them being such a good team of 3.
And then there's the flashback ending where Oliver finally aims the bow.
This is the thing.
That's what he's been working
That's the thing you
towards.
forget, that this is, and we'll reflect on this more next season, but this is that's the first time Oliver's ever killed anyone aside from a bird. But yeah, I love that. Man, I love the flashback fight scene. I don't know if you call it a fight scene, but it's so chaotic, and there's so much going on with Slade and Shadow, and oh man, I love the flashbacks, and I love them as a 3 team.
Yeah, they're a good team.
But, well, oh man, everything ties together, but I suppose we did have a tiny bit. At first, we had a bit of drama with Tommy, but it's the last time we ever had any drama.
But he was rightly mad, because like you said in the last review...
Exactly, Oliver was a dick!
Yeah, he basically gave Tommy his blessing and said, "Yep, I'm not going to have her, you should go after her, try to get back with her." But then he ends up doing stuff with her, and then Tommy sees the window.
But that's also the time when Oliver has to tell him about Malcolm, which I suppose we'll go into the scene where Tommy starts to confront Malcolm.
Yeah, because at first he doesn't believe Oliver, but then Malcolm just outright admits, yep, that's true.
Yeah, and then he goes into it and he plays a recording of he replays a recording of Tommy's mother's death.
Yeah.
And, even if you think his motives are weird, there's a lot of emotion in that scene in my mind. Especially, that scene, that's credit to the actors when they're playing a recording and you see them both listening to it.
Yeah, Tommy really seemed tortured by hearing that.
Yeah, before we get into the rest of the confrontation, the confrontation, that was the end of it. It was pretty much it. But then, there's so many things to talk about. I think we'll move on to... it all goes so fast, I can't remember what happens in Mortal Order.
Well, yeah, and they really stick to the theme of the episode being sacrifice, because they're always mentioning... Well, for one thing, Lance says he's throwing away his career.
Yeah, this is... Oh, man, this... I think in Season 2, he's mostly always on the Arrow's side.
Yeah.
And this is what I love. I suppose at the end... Yeah, because as we were saying, after the Felicity scene, he pretty much says... Okay, he pretty much believes it. So he goes and... he does throw away his job. He gets demoted. He loses his job. But he gives this really good speech.
Yeah. And then, adding to that, Robert sacrificed himself. And then, we know Malcolm sacrifices a lot because so many people had to die for his plan.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's not really a sacrifice because he's happy most of them are dead.
Yeah. And then, Oliver seems happy to sacrifice himself even though he doesn't end up doing it. They warn him it's dangerous, and I remember he's always saying, whatever the cost.
Yeah, I know.
So, he was willing to die to stop Malcolm.
Yeah, there was a scene that often gets glossed over, but the press conference scene where Moira announces everything, that's when
she was threatened, and, she's sacrificing her family's safety, basically, to give everyone else a chance to know what's going on.
Well, at this point, she's got nothing to lose, but...
And then Thea sacrifices her safety by going after Roy.
Calm down, one at a time, because, I love that Moira stuff. It leads into a lot of good stuff I love about Season 2, but it's a small little thing, but she does throw everything away to do the greater good in the end.
Yeah.
Because it ties into an earlier scene when Oliver was talking with Moira. But... Oh, man.
And then Thea sacrificed her safety.
Thea. Yeah, because then Thea spends the rest of the plot with Roy, because everything, of course, once Moira announces it, sure, the police go after Malcolm, but the Glades just go insane. But, even the weird thing is, well, not weird, but the interesting thing is, Roy doesn't just immediately get straight out of the suburb. He immediately, he sees somebody in trouble, and even when chaos is going crazy, he tries to do everything he can. Yeah. And he stays in the Glades.
It's so stupid that those guys were attacking that old man, because, don't you want to run to safety?
Nah, people are overestimating some of the destruction. It's an earthquake. If there's nothing to be damaged around, you're going to be safe. Stay in the middle of the road at all costs.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's how an earthquake works.
But,
although, okay, to be fair, there should be a lot of dust. When buildings fall, there's a lot of dust. There should be dust everywhere. People shouldn't be able to see or breathe easily.
But yeah, everyone is sacrificing their safety in this. Roy's sacrificing his to help other people. When people were like, let me in the car, help me escape, and Roy was going around trying to save everyone. He really wants to be a hero.
Yeah, the one thing I was thinking is, is it just me, was the final fight with Oliver and Malcolm a little anticlimactic?
I suppose so.
It was still a good fight, but
when I first watched it, I expected him to kill him.
Well, he did.
But he's not dead.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later, but we're supposed to think he's dead.
Oh, we are?
Yeah. The problem is both me and you never really believed it because we knew it. But yeah, it's weird. But we'll get into that in season 2 with something. But I mean,
and then I guess
we do have the scene. No, because Tommy confronts Malcolm again. Because then when the police come for him, he takes out the police, but then Tommy points a gun at him.
Yeah, and that Tommy almost killed.
I
his
love
own
that
father.
scene. I like that scene because it gets brought up a lot later near the end of season 2 in a different parallel. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, he almost kills his own father.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but...
But since we were listing sacrifices, the ultimate sacrifice is, of course, Tommy.
I suppose we'll get... Yeah, we've been talking about Tommy a lot. Let's get into Tommy.
Yeah, he runs in there to save
There's
her.
no denying that the scene was emotional. Even if you hate Tommy, which I usually do, the scene was emotional. And like I said, it was only the very beginning where Tommy had a bit of a drama anyway. The rest of this episode, Tommy was good, and you can't deny that last scene.
And even then, he was justified for being mad. Exactly,
because that just, like I said, the whole stupid love triangle is stupid. There was a tiny scene with Laurel where they're still together with Oliver, but who cares? It was so small I barely remembered it existed. And it won't get brought up again ever again, so... But I suppose we have to... there's no one denying that scene was emotional.
Yeah.
But it's not much else you could say about it. The scene's emotional, but
that's not so much this time because we knew it was coming, but I seem to remember, I guess it would have gotten me quite emotional first time.
The first time I watched it too, because here's the thing, I kind of knew it was coming, and I kind of didn't. In the sense that I knew he had to die sometime, but I didn't know it was going to be season 1 finale, so I was like, oh, that's Tommy's death, there we go. But yeah, that's the end of Tommy. I mean, to be fair, we've hinted it about 1,000 times in our reviews. We never said he died in our reviews, but let's face it, we've never talked about him in future seasons.
Yeah, I feel bad for anybody dumb enough to watch our reviews who hasn't seen future.
I've tried to remain spoiler-free, but the amount of times you've talked about stuff with Sarah...
Oh, yeah, I can't help it.
We'll save it for next season.
Yeah.
But I can't think of much bad about this episode.
Yes, I don't know what to say about the ending, but after the episode finished, I was just like, what an ending.
I know, that's the thing. After the Tommy death, that's it. It pans out on the destruction to remind you. Because that's the thing. Even though, yes, we stopped the first device, and yes, we stopped 1 out of 2, and yes, Malcolm is supposedly dead. He still had a second device. So in the end, Malcolm partially won because one of his devices went off and still did a large amount of damage. Yeah. And that's a crap ton of damage too.
Yep, luckily Felicity was fine because she said, it's mostly contained to the east side.
That's a good way of handling how... That was such a good, clever bit of writing, by the way. The being 2 device, it's not also a good twist. It's a good explanation on why some parts of the Glade they don't have to destroy. So we don't have to worry about destroying Verdant or all other stuff, but we can destroy CNRI.
Yeah, because his plan was probably to have 2 devices, 1 on each side.
Yeah. But, man, what an ending. And I keep saying, that's the thing. This is why I'm going to praise Season 2 so much at the beginning, because this is such a good ending, and man, does Season 2 pick it up so well, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. We have finished this season.
From that pan out, you can tell that the thing that they want to leave in your mind is Tommy's death.
And the destruction. That's the 2 things you remember. There wasn't really any other cliffhangers or things to keep you going.
Yeah.
It was mainly Tommy, and that's it. I suppose... That's the thing. There was a flashback, but I don't know if that's a cliffhanger. It's just, okay, he killed Fires.
Yeah, Fires is dead, so he can't call a boat or
It does prove Oliver's willing to... I mean, to be fair, how many times has Fires said, I'll take you home, and he hasn't? So to be fair, it's justified. Also, 1, it's to save Shadow, and Fires has killed so many people and tortured him and killed Yelfei.
Yeah.
So Fires had it coming a long shot, so... That's the thing. You do get the justification. That's the thing I've always said about these seasons, at least for the first 5. The seasons have 2 plots, and the seasons, effectively, in most cases, have 2 villains.
Yeah.
So you get to have 2 villain confrontations and deaths.
Yeah, that is a great way to handle that. I will admit, they did it well.
I told you, the flashbacks are good.
Yeah, when I first watched the show, I was skeptical of the flashbacks. I was like I said, the flashbacks, following two stories.
Sometimes they drag on, or sometimes they get in the way, but usually near the end, especially with season 1 and 2, the flashbacks are so good.
Yeah, they do a great job of ending them. They have their great moments.
But I feel like we've covered everything in this episode.
Yeah, I'm tossing up between 8 or 9.
I've got to give it a 9.5.
Yeah, I don't want to call it perfect.
I can never... I'm very unlikely to give something a 10.
You gave Onion a 10.
I mean a proper show where you take things seriously. But... honestly, it's a 9.5. What else can you say? There's hardly any bad...
Yeah, I'll go for 9.
That makes it both of our highest rated episodes of the season. Because my goodness, was there so much. There was never a dull moment.
Yeah.
There was never a moment where you're thinking, oh god, this scene. Even with the Tommy scene, I remember, no, it's fine. It goes so quick. The Laurel scene was so quick, and as soon as it ended, I forgot it was over.
Everything just went the right amount of time.
Here's the thing, even though I didn't care for the Laurel scene, by the time it was over, I forgot it existed because we're right back in the action.
Yeah, it worked so well.
But, oh my god. The season's over. Can you believe we've done a whole season?
Oh my god, 23 of these videos.
23 episodes, an entire season done. We are up to season 2 and I can't believe it. I can't wait.
It's gonna be amazing.
I am so excited to do season 2. From my memory, last time I've really looked at these things, I've said that of Arrow, season 2 is my favourite. I'm curious how I will feel again. Season 1 was amazing, I'm not going to deny. It was great. It's better than I remember. I've gained some appreciation. There was some hit and misses in the middle, like there's some of the Huntress stuff. Like, the middle portion had a bit of stuff that didn't work.
Yeah.
The beginning was good, nice setup. But then the last, 5 episodes was so good.
Great.
What a good season.
Amazing.
So, I suppose there's not much else to say about the season. Tommy is gone. Fires is gone. Malcolm is supposedly gone. There's not much... What else can you say? There's a lot of stuff that'll be to talk about next season. Yeah. Moira's been arrested. But...
yeah.
With that being said... that is the end of our reviews for Arrow Season 1. We will be moving straight on to Season 2.
Yeah, we will move on very quickly. So quickly it'll probably be uploaded maybe one day after this is.
Whatever, it'll be the next Arrow episode we do. We're moving straight on to Season 2. I can't wait. I love Season 2. With what you know of Season 2 and what you've just watched, what are your thoughts on going into Season 2?
I'm excited. Even though I've seen some of it before, I'm looking forward to...
try and think about the stuff you just saw and what you know.
Yeah, there's the aftermath of Moira getting arrested. I'd love to see how they handle that, even though I kind of already remember it. But, and even though there wasn't much of a leave you hanging type thing, Roy and Thea's relationship, I'd love to see how that progresses.
That's an interesting point about Roy and Thea, because they have that last scene with her in the Glades and he says, "Go without me," and that's it for them. That's their last scene in the episode.
Yeah.
But we'll continue with that. So, I suppose is that everything to talk about? Are we done? We're ready for next season?
I guess so. It was great.
What an episode, and what an end of a season.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode and if you enjoyed our review, like, comment, subscribe, and see you next time for Season 2 of Arrow!
This is gonna be great!